Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Oh, nice. We're both doing it in sync. Good morning, Jinx.
Okay, we'll just wait. I see. Do we have humans in here? Or is it robots? Yeah, Mr. Ridenour's in here.
Hello,
Good morning.
morning. How's it going?
We got sun today. It rained most of yesterday.
Oh,
And I'm trying to fix my leak I have in my RV roof for my own for my own workmanship. So, you know. It's like it's raining. I can now test where it and figure out where this leak is so I can fix it before we go back on the road. And it's May, so and we're supposed to be in New York in May, so fun stuff.
How's the weather out there, David?
it's been raining a lot this week, but the sun, really clear skies and the sun's out really bright today.
Yeah, I know that's what we got when we woke up here. So we're like, okay, perfect. Just keep doing what we're doing. So
39.
okay.
It's cool. It's cool. The the 60s and 70s are we've been missing those for the last few days.
Well, I know when we were in Texas before we started driving east, it was nice and warm, and then we got to Missouri, and I was like, all right, this is Midwest weather. As cold and just not and wind super windy. I think it was windy all the way from Missouri to well, I guess we through Virginia to DC to Maryland area when I flew out of the airport there in Washington. So um it's spring. Weather's always fun and interesting. So depends on
Yeah.
how affected you are by the weather. Some people are really affected by the weather. So especially their attitudes.
Oh yeah. Attitudes of this.
Well, I don't know what your area of Indiana is like, but I know when we lived in our house is in Alberta, Canada, so it gets the most sun. At least in Canada, that area gets the most sun days of sun per year, so you can definitely tell it affects people's personality and moods.
Okay.
Whereas if you're on the coast, like West Coast, East Coast, you'll get more precipitation, more rain, so people are grumpier, according to science.
Right.
Science.
The only
Okay.
thing that scares One thing that scares me on the East Coast is I don't like their 22 inches of snow, stuff like that. Because
Yes, snows, obvious it just you never really and year after year is not ever going to be the same as snow because we're we took, Alberta where our house is, it's been a very snowy March and April. So when we were back there this time last year, it snowed a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. But this year lots of snow, lots of storms in April, so we made a good choice. It still snowed here in the far east coast, Atlantic Canada, but nothing compared to what we would have endured if we would have gone to Alberta. So I'm not sure how we've been in at your place in Indiana in what November, so we knew what the November weather is like, but only that particular year. So I don't know if it's the same every year or if it's different your amount of snow that you get. So.
right, we've been lucky the last several years. We've been kind of light weather. Uh, Last week or a couple weeks ago, we had a lot of tornadoes come through that was in the area. But I don't know. I used to live in the center part of the state, and we used to always get snow in there around South Bend, just south of South Bend and stuff like that.
He's been up since midnight.
Pardon me?
Oh
It's just
yeah.
Lucretia on her
No.
microphone. I don't have anybody muted right now because we're just waiting for people to come into the room to see what progress you've made with content planning or building out your YouTube channel this week. We've got new
How
students.
everyone is doing, how everyone's holding up, right?
Precisely, because not everything goes always to plan when you're planning out uh YouTube content, your thumbnails, titles, descriptions.
Well,
It's been a
and it doesn't. Like nothing ever goes as planned. Even when you think you've got things down, something comes from somewhere else, and you're like, it's great. You just have to keep adapting and getting used to the consistency of showing up so you can even adapt, right, Mike?
consistency of figuring out if you're prone to tech issues, what's going to catch you the next time you go
You
live.
can't, Mike, you can't even. No. Okay. So, as an example, I'm going to say, like, this is the whole constantly learning is even when you've done things. The last live we did, so we did a live on Thursday, and we've been restreaming through Restream. And one of the ways we've linked it to my Rumble account. Mike saw it go live. Mike had one of our devices watching it live to make sure it was streaming to Rumble. I went on after the live to make sure it was there. It was there. I featured it on my page, and I went like a day later, and there was literally, it was gone. My video was there. So the holders for it, the thumbnail, the image for it, the description's there, but there's literally like maybe a few seconds, like to 30-second loop of just my screen, like just I guess my image for my account, right? And I'm like, what went wrong? We're not quite sure what went wrong on that because we've successfully restreamed multiple times through to Rumble. So this is the interesting thing about it is that even when you're going through it, technology is great. And I wonder how much has to do with just the fact that we are in the full moon, which just brings out technology issues.
It could have been length because it was a little bit of a longer one. We also discovered a couple things with Restream
Sure.
where um, size of files matter, and yes, it was recorded with Restream and also uploaded to YouTube. So we're like, hey, we just wanted to we should have it in Restream. We should be able to rebroadcast it, but because of the length of it, um, it just required a manual. I'm gonna have to upload it to we still want it on Rumble. It should have been there. It disappeared. We went to manually upload it. We manually uploaded it just to make sure it went there. So it's just, and that hasn't happened with Rumble before. So we're like, hey, was it us on the tech side thinking we were live? Anyway, it's just the fun part of building out your production checklist is that never really ends up being a final checklist. There's always like, hey, there's a catch here, there's a catch over here, there's a catch over here. To be confident with this, re Z YouTube University today restreaming it to the platforms I'm streaming it to. I think I went 20 minutes or half hour early, made sure Zoom was okay, um, shared the image, and then Facebook page is not happy, but all the other social media connections have a green light, which I have to go verify we're live on LinkedIn and the other places I'm streaming to.
Well,
However,
I am confirming we are live on YouTube, so we are showing up on
okay,
YouTube. So I've
okay,
confirmed that. However, it's also the check, like you're talking, going back to the checklist, right? That you get the checklist so it gets you as prepared as possible, but then things come up too where it'll change, right? Like, so something will give you some benefit or some feature that you might want to add into your checklist. So that's the thing is we want to help you get for sure that checklist started so then you can just kind of play around and adapt and just see. And the reality is, at this point in time, to deal with life and especially technology, it takes just taking breaths. Because even if you do everything right, doesn't mean everything's gonna work correctly. And that's our learning. I would say my weekly learning. How is everybody else's week? Has anybody been making any new content that they want to share? Because we'd love to talk about that if anybody's got anything new going on or how everybody else is doing. And And then we are going to jump into some of the tips because I know we've got people that are at different levels with their YouTube channel. And I'm going to go over some of the best tips to get to that 100 subs, which is really what I think everybody, once you get to that 100 subs, you feel like, yay, I've got 100 subs, right? Like now I'm on the board with triple digits, right? So we're going to go over some of the best ways to get from wherever you're struggling. I know we've got people at different levels. So some people are have more than that, but these are just some of the best practices to get into that. So we're going to talk about that today. Do you want to share anything else of our experiences today, Mike, besides length and finding issues with that?
Yeah, I'm just giving. Yeah, no, you can go ahead because I'm like, there's always something that catches us every week, and that's why this is the Saturday class. Ask me anything. We're bringing up the challenges we've had with streaming this week, and then we've been onboarding new students into the 8-week visibility system, and just knowing what people, YouTubers are seeing it from your end because we've been on the platform for years with a couple different channels, so we know like best practices that we've done on our end, but then onboarding brand new fresh YouTube channels, I'm like, okay, this is good refresh for me to go through with brand new channels and
And we're learning a lot of things because even as we were always learning new things with YouTube. That's why we came and started doing this YouTube University, was to share, like, we were always constantly learning something new with YouTube, right? So that has definitely not slowed down, and there's always something new. So if we're like, well, how do we do this and make this as simple as possible? And we're like, okay, well, what we said maybe a month ago might have already changed. And that's an interesting development of how much technology has been advancing. Is that something that when we first started using something a few months ago, we couldn't do this or it had some restrictions. And now we're a couple months later and it's like, no, now it does this, right? So it is an interesting process. Oh, but Lucretia is going to go live streaming today. So yay. What I would recommend is I'm assuming it's going to be on YouTube. I would highly recommend, if you're going to just go onto YouTube and live stream directly, make yourself a thumbnail and get a description and put it there and set the time you're going to live stream. Give that little notification because you can do it on the back end. You just go and set it up and you just put it to go live when you want to go live. That'll let everybody know that you're going live. So just kind of giving out that little notification. So then we can all, and then you can go share it so we can come and show up and help support you. So that would be my recommendation. And then put that in the YouTube, the Facebook group, the YouTube, I am YouTube famous, and we'll come and show up and watch you. Come and share it so we can help support you, have somebody there. Right, Mike?
100%.
So do that. Go get that set up. There's your homework. I've given you a whole class right here.
If you're using something like Restream, the scheduler's built in, right, Julie? That's how you've
Yes,
been.
yes. So if you're using Restream, it's the same process. You go into Restream, you put in your description and all of that, and then you set the time. And once you set the time, it will push it through to YouTube and show up on your end as like a waiting video. Perfect. Yeah, get on it. Go do that. That's awesome. So, well, yeah, so it'll give you that normal when you go and you see somebody's going to go live or waiting, it'll automatically push it from Restream, which is awesome, which it did not do. So that's actually one of the examples of where when we were first starting to use Restream, I don't think it did that, but maybe I wasn't using it right. But just how you evolve that, was I using it right or did it have that feature? And now I'm aware, oh, it's actually really easy. Just go set it up and it works this way. Technology, fun times.
Well, it's not that you're not using it right. It's just how do you learn to use a new software versus if somebody sees you struggling with that, or they see you using it, they're like, hey, that works. Here's the other two methods. And you're like, oh, just because you're a human and you need to learn how what settings are fully there. And this is the fun thing when we onboard somebody into the visibility engine. Like that's the first thing. It's request your live you lot you with YouTube, a lot of people don't realize they see the 50 subscriber requirement for YouTube mobile on their phone and they're like, oh, I can't live stream. I'm like, you can live stream, but we're going to use the desktop and through Restream, which will allow you to do both horizontal and vertical, a little bit of a cheat just to get you so you can get started. And it's fun showing people the back end and say, hey, you can start live streaming. Still need to make up content, still got to come up with your thumbnails and your I show ideas because we want to have good con you want to able to get on camera, hit record, and know what you're talking about, right? And that just helps reduce that initial stage fright when you start doing lives. If you've got images to share or a script and you're ready to go, helps tremendously.
Well, and no, and setting up that live will help as well. So then as you build your followers, the people that are showing up, especially on YouTube, it will notify them when you're going live. And then if they're following you, they'll be notified when you are live. So they get notification that you're going to go live. So you can then be notified if you want or not, or if they want to or not, right? But they get like multiple ways to be notified. So it just gets it into that consistency because that's a lot of what we're going to talk about, which is super important to get to that 100 subs. So I guess we'll stay open for any more questions for like a couple more minutes, and then I think we should jump into it because it's really interesting on like the keys that are will help you get to that triple digits, which is where you really want to jump. And then once you've got that 100 subs, then you don't even have that limiting belief that you need 50 to go live because you're past that, right? So you're good. You're already on that roller coaster or whatever. I guess we call it a roller coaster because that is, we have to almost think of YouTube as a ride in that this is just part of your process. And you may not want to really look at what the YouTube numbers are, but getting it established is super important to the longer view. And I don't know if I'm explaining
Well,
it.
it's setting yourself up for bigger impact when it comes to people discovering you, especially setting up that, as I've said, you know, broadcast radio, broadcast TV, those audiences were built on, hey, our show goes on Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday night. There was always an even if it's only audio advertisement, there was always an advertisement with the show and the time. And this is exactly why we're suggesting on YouTube to set up your set up your scheduled events because we've noticed a couple things on the back end which we've shared with our visibility students. That's we've learned a couple things with this current group that we're teaching that I sort of knew before, but it was cemented because now I have evidence that I'm like, hey, you're setting this signal to YouTube that you're going live. That is data that Google is collecting to show people who are searching for you that, hey, you have a show. You have increased authority because you've scheduled your shows ahead of time with YouTube, and Google likes that messaging.
You want the algorithm AI gods to work in your favor. You do. So the more you show up, it does feed that algorithm because it knows you're showing up. Even if it does, even as me and Mike we do research and sometimes we will ask AI systems certain things about our own profiles or other people's information. And sometimes it can be brutal, but you want to know what it sees about you, right? And sometimes it's hilarious who it loves, who it's like, this needs to be improved. And then Mike goes and translates it to be nice
I'm
in
sorry.
between.
Everybody we meet, I'm literally dumping your I'm doing SEO searches on
He's
you, and
investigating you. He's
I'm
getting
investing. I'm
AI's
like, okay,
opinions of
what
you.
in 2020 in May 2026, what does Google think of you? What does AI think of you? And just like, your YouTube channel, how you're showing up on Google based on all the um search engine optimization triggers that you have with all the links that you have out there. So it's been super interesting building out in the visibility engine program, building out YouTube wallpapers for people, right? Because typically you would just have like, yourself in Canva, or you'd have a VA in Canva just using a template for YouTube and putting it together. However, Um, I've been just throwing things together based on what are perceived like high click-through colors for your channel and your messaging, and just, it's like, okay, we're not using a template. We're building a high impact visual for your page based on um, what we're seeing on the SEO back end. So it's super interesting. Not everybody likes them, but some people are like, hey, I like this. Let's change it a little bit. I'm like, I'm just giving you samples. I'm your production assistant in the back end, and I'm giving you examples that aren't coming out of the template box on Canvas. So
Well, exactly. We're looking at merging the benefits of all those things. And if AI can help us, if we can take something away, I'm not gonna lie, like I do not have glorification of AI. I argue with AI all the time. So that's all
oh,
I
I
can say
agree.
is I do disagree with it. And then often that actually comes to a better solution. So I'm definitely not one of those people that, as I used as an example in one of our lives recently, was about like how people fall for AI and don't question certain things. Like I get how we can totally get into it feeding us back the information we want to hear. And that can be the problem. The problem with us evolving and using AI is it might know you and might always like sometimes you can't polish a turd or chocolate cover coated, and we need to know honestly like how things work, and we have to have like that honest perspective, which can be really difficult to look at that. So Mike's actually good. So if you don't even want to look yourself up, Mike's a good in between because he'll look it up and then he'll give you the nicer version of how to tell you what AI has found out about you. So I feel like you're that type of interpreter.
Okay. I always say I'm like a counselor because people
Yeah.
say, why is this not working? And I'm like, do you want the candy coated version or do you want the brutal honesty?
Exactly. So whether it's AI or whether it's tech,
And there's
you
and
are
we
the
and we have
counselor.
those people in this watching this class because I've been just DMing them. I'm like, hey, change this because it's just like if you send me something and there's just like things wrong with it, I'm like, okay, let's just fix this because nobody said anything to you yet. Let's just fine tune this, go forward, and just make it pop more. Because even having um going through a lot of your content, there's a lot of reoccurring themes that may just be hidden because of how it's edited or thumbnail or descriptions or whatever. And I'm like, hey, this is great. I didn't know this about you. I'm watching your stuff. You see, everybody who's joining I Am YouTube Famous, I'm going through. If you've posted your it's a good call. Go and make sure your YouTube channels are in the I Am YouTube Famous Facebook group because I go through all of those. I've got a spreadsheet. I've been going through everybody's channel and ma- um, just making notes. Realistically, just making notes because I know people aren't at the subscriber levels that they want, or they're like, well, why does this short get more views than this other short? They're the same. And it could just be placement of the camera, words or tags in the danger zones, the outside corners of shorts. It's just really like, okay, here's why. So, it's just like
You're looking for patterns. You're
feedback from
looking
a
for
good
patterns.
friend saying, hey, this is great. And you're increasing the frequency of your postings. It's just let's find I give some people feedback and they're like, I don't like that you gave that feedback with AI. And I'm like, I understand that you're not happy that I gave you feedback with AI, but there's no movement, there's no growth, there's something. So let's just use these tools. And I'm just saying, let's change the graphic. Let's
Well,
change the
and
color
can
combination.
I bring in the
Yeah,
whole thing with AI is that doesn't mean AI is completely correct. That's why I'm saying like I'll argue with things.
of
But
course.
sometimes it's that merge in between where AI will give us a different perspective than we will, especially since we'll emotionally be attached to our own information or what we're putting out or our own perspective, and AI will have a totally different perspective than we have. And then especially if you have somebody like myself and Mike looking from outside and giving a different perspective as well.
Eh,
And then you can get a fuller view of what we can improve. And that is the point, is using these tools to improve. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. There is times where you don't necessarily want to be told what to improve on until I've argued with why doesn't this work, until I have to come to an epiphany and try something different. So we're always refining, we're always looking at how we can make things better and how we can increase having viewers, subscribers, and making the most of the videos. However, we can't even do that unless we're actually showing up. So I guess if there's anybody else has any questions in the chat or whatever, I guess we should probably start talking about what the best way and the things you do that will pretty much, we can't guarantee, but if you're doing these things, you're going to hit 100 subs. Do you have anything left to say on that, or shall we jump into
No,
that
I was
more?
just gonna say you want to take over sharing the screenshots,
Okay, sure. Let me just go and get this one out here.
and then I can stop sharing on my end.
Okay, open those, and then let's go in there, because these are the best ways, and these are things that if you are doing these regularly, it's going to help you get your 100 subs and get you started with that. Okay, let me put I don't know if I can share my screen here. Oh, there we go. I just accidentally made it small. Accidentally.
That's why I'm like, I can't even find the Zoom window with Restream open. So
Oh, I get it. There's so many screens. Okay, I want to see this whole screen here. I have too many screens. I don't even know what is, like, I can't even see my own screen.
I see.
Okay, here we go. You can see my screen, correct?
Um,
Or no?
yeah, I can see it. It says YouTube University, how to get your first 100 subscribers. I can see number 1 and number 2 in entirety.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so these are the tips that they give that if you're doing this, this is going to help you. So the first thing is, so like I was mentioning with Lucretia, going to go live, which is awesome. So get that thumbnail, get that description, put it in and set that time, even if it's only an hour before you go live. You just put that note out there that you're going to go live, which will get out that beacon. And this is related to it. It's picking a lane. So it's essentially you're picking your content. Doesn't mean you're going to stay in this niche, because there's a lot of it where I don't know if we were talking about it here or with our students, but one of the tips is to kind of use your niche, but start reaching out and using concepts that other niches use. So a way of advertising or promoting that you might see in a different niche, like let's say cars, and how they portray or do a car commercial, but can you adapt that to what you're selling? That idea. That is a great idea. But the first thing is stay to what you're going to be mainly about. Is it spiritual? Is it vibe coding? Is it, what is the base of it? Doesn't mean you're not going to have some random things where you're maybe sharing something funny that's not completely related, but to start, pick what is the purpose of your YouTube? Is it to promote your business? Any other suggestions on that, Mike, with the pick a lane?
Um, it's a challenge for all creators because you have these, I talk to podcasters, people relaunching their brands every single week, right? You hear the conversations, and they have this grand idea for, like, they're like, I'm gonna do 13 episodes on this, and I'm like, perfect. So what are your next 13? And then they like look like a deer in the headlights. You're like, what do you mean my next 13? I'm like, well, 13's a Hollywood season, so what would your second season be? And they've got so much like the build up for that first season. I'm like, well, I understand it's your first season or you're relaunching, but where's the other idea? Like, we need other ideas after that. You don't want to like, I get it. It's emotional to go through and say, I've got this great idea, but I'm like, we have no guarantee when that ROI, when you're gonna have like viewers for the 13 that you're gonna launch right now or this month or next month. We don't even know when your audience is gonna find that season. So we're gonna promote, 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 and then you're gonna upload it and go promote those 13 that new
So,
season.
so when you're picking a lane, it's the idea is like have something that you can keep building on. That's the idea. Like whatever your concept is that essentially it? To just keep building on that concept.
Exactly, and then have the next idea ready, and then the next idea ready, so that way when you're 6, 9, 12 months in, you're like, okay, what content got the most views?
Well, exactly, exactly. So in this case, like, okay, we've got a lot of authors, right? So maybe your whole focus is to promote your writings, your books, whatever you're doing. So the first start, you start with 13 seasons and maybe interview. Like I know we have a new student, they're going to interview co-authors. So your 13 episodes are you interviewing the people in this first book. Then you're going to adapt it. So you're still talking about your book, but maybe you start reading chapters after that for the next 13 weeks. And then after that, maybe you're keep taking your content and you're just finding shorts and you're really highlighting clips out of that. So you just take that same concept and adapt it through. So that is the first way is like pick whatever your theme is going to be. That's going to be what you want to kind of stick to. It doesn't mean, though, as we've talked about, because I do want to bring this up, we had somebody who was convinced to literally nuke their channel when they weren't going to be creating any more of that content, right? Or what it was like,
Hmm.
somebody recommended them to get rid of that. They might have wanted to go back and make that content, but they can't even when they nuke the channel. So I would never recommend you completely destroy a channel. It might be worth, if you're not going to build on that and you just want to leave it as is, to just start another channel versus nuking it, because you never know when you want to go back to that. But you can also adapt that channel you have by reintroducing your channel to something that's maybe in between what you used to do and where you're going, right? So just keeping that in mind as well. So the second way to get your 100 subscribers, so this would be just like I was saying to Lucretia, plan before you film. Design your thumbnail, have your title before you record. That will help. So before you go live, it's going to help your live than just going and being like, you know what, I just want to go live and it just says live stream or whatever. This will help, like I said, because you'll put out that signal so people know that are already subscribed that you're going live. And then it will also just have what your live is going to be about, which is how you're going to hopefully, fish and start to reel in those people that are going to watch your live or the video you're making. So, any comments on the first two ways to get
Oh,
that?
I've got a lot of comments on number two. I got a lot of
Okay,
comments
go
on
ahead,
number
Mike.
two. Don't, on your thumbnails, don't say you're going to be doing it weekly if you're not going to show up weekly. Because
You're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead because that's actually going to come up.
I'm just going to say AI and Google, they know what you've promised your audience. And if you're not fulfilling, just change the background. Just change it to something else. Don't promise and not deliver, because your friends and family know if you're already that type of person and then you're broadcasting that inconsistency to your audience. I've seen it a bunch this week with people messaging me. I get messages, Facebook DMs, emails. Mike, what do you think's wrong with my channel? I lost 500 subs last week. And I go look at your channel and I'm like, you literally say new videos weekly or this or this or this. And I'm like, you're not doing it. So stop advertising and that it happens a lot. And I understand that it can be a challenge to consistently put stuff up on YouTube. And this is why we invented our framework the way we did, right? Like 2 hours a week, you can have YouTube content coming out regularly, but we gotta frame your mind and do this. So don't promise something you're not gonna deliver on. Just uh that's it's often with YouTubers that I run into this. So and then not they're not advertising when they are, like precisely like
Exactly, exactly. You're not putting out the signal, right? So those are going to make those right alone are going to assist you. Let people know you're going live. Step into it. Like just take that step. It is scary. It's literally, I get it. At a level, going live is like going naked to the public. There is a level of that fear of being like out there where you're just being and anybody can comment. And however, there is back end features where you can lock down and limit the comments. You can also have somebody come in and co-host or manage
speaking
those. So there's ways around that, but I get it. It's like embrace that you are going out there. Tell everyone you're going out there. Think of it as like, especially if you're the fear in my mind, it just comes up as being naked. Fearing I'm going to go naked. I'm going out. I'm going live. Tell everybody and step into it.
You know
Embrace
what
it.
the funny thing, you're like you said like turn off the comments or you can limit them if they're like negative or like not even related. You may still get comments in real life. So
Yes.
those we have to take with a grain of salt. Like my father. His feedback is because obviously Julianne and I are going live multiple times a week. Anybody who follows us on all of the social platforms will see that. That's hence we get a lot of questions from creators. And then I get my father. Your lives are too long. And it's like, you're not my ideal customer. Because
Hey,
all you
fairness, and it is feedback. And in reality, we're going live, we're testing different formats, we're testing different things because we are also refining our own process because that's why we talk about it. What we've learned and then we're refining it as well. But
But
it is
then I
always
get
fun.
other comments from him as well. So it's like, oh, I didn't think this was a good point. I didn't think about this. Where were you when you filmed this video? And I was like, okay, because your audience, they want to know what's going on with you, just in case you aren't consistent with going live and making new stuff. They want to know what's going on because we've got a bunch of students who are interested in signing up or they've signaled that they want to sign up because they've got launches happening. Like people have got projects that they've been working on for years that are like, hey, would this work well? I'm like, you've already got the graphics, you've already know titles, so you've been watching us do this YouTube University, you've been watching us. My hidden audience is watching me. They're like, hey, I like this, but I want to be super prepared so I get the most value for my time and money when we start doing one-on-one coaching because I have series ready. I've got graphics ready. I've got all this stuff ready. So when we start, I want it to work well. And I'm like, perfect. You're already planning ahead. Now, but we got to get you in front of the camera. I haven't seen any
And we
record.
got to get the consistency. So it's great. You did all the background stuff. It's like I built all the background stuff, but nobody knows it exists. It's like it's legitimately built. Oh my, the first instinct came building the best theme park of all time, but nobody knows it exists. There you go. I've got this wonderful theme park. Why is anybody showing up? Nobody knows I am even existing, right? And that's continuing on being seen. So let's continue with the ways to get your 100 subs. So the next two ways to get your subs is to study, don't admire. So this is also kind of what we were talking about. Like we're constantly practicing, but I'm watching other YouTubers. We're looking at it and I'm the deeper I go into it, the more I'm analyzing, okay, what did they do? Why did I stay here? Okay. And whether I can actually practically implement some of those in the way I'm doing things may or may not, but it will keep my ideas going of things that I've liked or seen or that I may try or see if I can fit in somehow in what I'm doing, right? So stop watching the creators as fans, start watching it as a student, right? And that's the only way you're going to get good is just kind of also taking it away that you're not only consuming it, but you're consuming it as a way to learn for yourself. And I am going to laugh because being a homeschooling parent with a daughter who is making content and is always online, always on YouTube. She's 13, and I always want to be, oh, you're on it again. Like, I want to cut you off. And then she will say to me, Mom, I'm getting ideas online. Mom, like she's getting her inspiration. She's learning from the creators, so she's inspired to bring her own, right? So it's kind of the funny catch 22 of that. And on that. Oh, perfect. Lucretia has jumped and or dropped in the comments her live event. So if you are watching, go and click that. Make sure you guys do so you can watch her at 11. Okay, so number 3, just watch those things. The strategies are free. Start consuming and just taking that note of what you like or what you're seeing from people, especially if they're doing something similar to what you're going to do. That's even better. It to get some of those notes. Any thoughts on that, Mike? And the study, don't admire?
I'm as I tell whenever I'm on a call with a student, I'm like, my day is YouTube all day long, and I'm looking at what other YouTube coaches are pushing, right? There's realistically, I'm always looking at my competition. And I'm just like, okay, this is good, or this is it. Just like, how did I find them? Maybe they ran ads, maybe I discovered them that way. But I'm just like, okay, what are they, you know, visual styles, or just like how did they hook me? Not that I'm just sizing them up and saying, okay, this is valid, this isn't, or whatever. Or they don't talk about the YouTube partner program at all, and we're in the YouTube partner program. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm teaching you from what I've learned, going from zero, like my process going from zero to monetization and becoming a part of the partner program. So that's where I'm coaching you guys from, is my experience with it, and none of these other coaches are talking about that process, which
However,
makes
you're learning from these other coaches because
exactly right. So it's like,
well, that's
okay,
where we get this information, right? And so it's actually
exactly.
good. It's good because I realize there's nobody else taking it from a stance of promoting, especially small businesses, to go and make content as a part of their business plan. There's nobody doing it. Everybody's talking about getting that viral content, getting all of this stuff essentially to become, well, you are still, when you're promoting your business, becoming like your own TV station, right? But we're taking it from a different perspective than the average, which are really promoting whatever you're interested in, and somehow showing that as entertainment, right? Where we're doing it in the fact of what your interest is your business, and getting other people to be interested in your business per se. So more of, how do we make this work for you, right? So we watch what other people are doing because you can learn a lot of things, and sometimes you'll just have these epiphanies because you've been allowing yourself to be fully integrated into that reality, that you start to go, okay, now this is apparent. Okay, maybe I kind of thought I understood this, but now it's clearer. So that's really what I feel like number 3 is too, is embracing it and just letting yourself be absorbed into the YouTube, like, and trying putting out different things, putting out things that you don't even think are necessarily great, and just seeing what your feedback is, seeing what the process is, because you can't test anything if you're not just really immersing yourself into it. So it's not, so it's not only here watching your creator, it's going in and doing and starting to mirror things, even if it doesn't look exactly like your creator or somebody you enjoy or you're mirroring. You want to bring your own version of it, right? We never want to be essentially copying somebody else. We might be using things they use or techniques, but we want to bring our own spin of who we're going to uniquely attract, I guess, if that makes sense.
Well, and the other tip would be, if you're watching other creators in your niche or whatever, it's one of the hacks to get subscribers. To um go to the streams, drop comments, and drop your channel, because that's one of the hacks to get more subs, is to really go promote yourself. And the best way to promote a YouTube channel is on YouTube, in the comment sections of other channels, because that's how, people, I read through I'm one of those YouTube I'm a YouTube watcher who goes and reads the comments, because I either think a video is great and I'll give them a like, I'll leave a comment, and I'll leave my channel there, just so I'm promoting myself. And also, I know other YouTube creators appreciate positive, or just comments, because it helps
Well, it
them.
helps the algorithms. It does. So it does help creators by commenting about what you're creating as well, because they get more comments. But I do
liking
think
and
it
liking
is interesting. Sorry.
liking and sharing of YouTube content signals to YouTube that people like this video, so they're going to push it more. So this is part of the fun challenge of promoting yourself, is like, hey, let's build it up, make it visually look pretty, show up with regular content, and then get to understand that you want your channel, your videos liked and shared, right? But we need to make that content first.
Well, exactly, because you have a couple things. First thing, we are all now promoting ourselves forever. You didn't know that that was what you had to do, and you didn't know that that was what you really needed to learn in your life, was how to promote yourself. And so now you're being homeschooled in your adult life, that you are now promoting yourself, and that is
Promote,
what you
promote,
have to do
promote.
to go forward. So you are aware, because that is what it is all self-promotion. And with that, the biggest thing that will help you get that 100 subs, number 4, in case you have not seen it right here in the screen, is show up every week. So one of the big things they were talking about, 1 week doing three videos is nothing, and then showing up for not like, okay, so essentially you show up for one, you put 3 videos out in a week, and then you don't show up again for a couple months, is not going to help you versus consistency of doing one video every week. You will be much more successful having a consistent schedule, because it does trust the builder, the subscribers, the AI algorithms are then trusted, like we were talking about. When you're showing up and you're showing that pattern of consistency, it does help. It's going to help you get that 100 subscribers. So it's like, once you do that live, it's committing to showing up and doing a live, or having something live stream, or just having a video, and having consistency of it. Because just like Mike said, having people and going, okay, you're promising you show up weekly, but you haven't posted anything in 6 months.
Well, I know why. It's because people get to a certain point, they're like, hey, look at me. I just crossed 4K subs, 4,000 subs.
Yeah.
And like, it's like big ego. And I'm like, but what about tomorrow and the week after that? Because I'm like, YouTube's looking at your historical activity as your bare minimums, right? So if you are posting, doing a live once a week, they're expecting a live once a week, and they want more than that, because Julie showed me a video this week, and I was like, how is it, somebody caught on that their channel was being used as a video promotion for YouTube, but it wasn't actually a video, right? So YouTube saying, "Hey, we like your content. Push it, push more, 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 more." Right? So consistency is super important in setting that bare minimum. We're like, "Hey, this is what we teach in the visibility engine. Literally, go live or upload a pre-recorded long once a week, and then we're gonna just clip those down." So you know if you go to your YouTube back end, they're gonna show you a graph of your viewers, and they're gonna tag you if it was a long video, a live, or a short. And it looks really sad when we're reviewing your YouTube channel with you, and it's like not much there's viewer activity, hopefully. But you have no upload, no new release schedule. And then we're like, well, where's the videos? And it's like, I don't, I'm okay with uncomfortable conversations.
Unfortunately, we're in a time that not only you are your own promotional system forever and indefinitely, you must be reminding people you exist forever and indefinitely. That's why even big companies still put out ads. They still do. McDonald's still does, because, like, they still want you to remember, right? So we are indefinitely always have to promote ourselves. So that's a realism that maybe it's uncomfortable. That might be your takeaway
Is that
today.
why people do logo redesigns that are terrible? Because they just want more controversy.
You know what? Fair enough, right? Get talking about you. And then it does come down to that whole idea that there is no bad publicity. So maybe that's a technique you try out. You make the worst possible image, and then make a video about how proud you are of it, and then see people put the hate in it and just start some controversy, right? So much content can be made for sure. But so again, how to get to your 100 subscribers. Like, it is being visible. The big things is making sure you're doing the same time, the same day, getting that broadcast principle, as Mike has talked about. This is being visible, consistency in your system. And even though we talked about, like, your system will be constantly having to be updated and adapted, but when you have a system, it's going to be as efficient as possible. And then you just adapt as you need to in and out of your system, right? So getting that process, which part of your system is going to work on being consistent, because when you know what to do, you're going to be like, okay, on this day, I need to do this. On this day, before I do my live or have my video posted live, I do this. You have like a plan in place. Once you've got your, it all works together. You got to have your consistency so you can put like the plan in action to have those steps in place. And then, of course, YouTube is our stage that we're using. We ideally want your stuff everywhere because, as an example, we as I talked about earlier today, about how the technology, for whatever reason, our process was great. This Rumble stream, this last live, looked like it was working on Mike's end, looked like it was
We
working when
got
I first
we,
got
we,
off.
we got views and comments.
We did, but it didn't save, right? So then we're like, okay, well, YouTube, we've still got it backed up on our restream. We can download it. I could have, once it was uploaded to YouTube, I could have always back downloaded it from there. So the idea with this and what we're really talking about is using YouTube, but also making sure we're getting our content everywhere, because we don't know at which end, because I've also had the reverse where YouTube flakes out and something didn't save, but it's been saved somewhere else, right? So that's kind of putting in something we learned so early on, being bachelors of
Well,
science in computer information systems, is having multiple ways to have a backup. And this is the workaround to not only be seen in as many places, but to a kind of have a way to have a backup of your content without physically holding a backup, which we probably should also have as well. That's a side note down that.
well, and the interesting thing is you may have a preconceived notion of your audiences, and using something like Restream to broadcast to multiple different places, you'd be really surprised because not everybody, when you're small and building an like my audience, Julie's audience are relatively small compared to people who've been doing this for years because they've already built influencer status, and we're just documenting our path on that. But looking at analytics afterwards, you're like, oh, well, I only had 1 or 5 or 10 people live. But then you can go over to something like go look at your Facebook and it's like, oh, hey, 70, 100, 150 views. I'm always surprised because I never see anybody live watching me on LinkedIn. And then LinkedIn will say, oh, you had like 250 impressions on that video. And it's like, okay, well, that's because I went live. It was there, and throughout the course of the next 714 days, people who know, like, and trust me are going and watching it.
Exactly. Like there's sometimes I'm like, holy, I got a whole bunch of people viewing it on Rumble. That's like a whole hidden audience I didn't even know existed. And showing up consistently on Rumble is paying off as well, where I'm slowly getting towards, I don't have my first 100 subs yet there, but being consistent, because we've been narrowing down a process that made it as easy as possible to go live on all these platforms, has only been in the last few months that I've been more consistent, and I'm slowly building more subs from that. But that is working because being consistent is paying off, right? Now, of course, the other benefit, like we're talking about being visible and why we want to get to our 100 subs and why we want to build our branding and put out our message consistently that we exist here, is that a lot of this being visible is that it's going to attract the people that find you. So that organic audience, not being tricked in an ad. Ads are not bad for sure, but your people are getting to know you, especially if you do have lives, right? If you are actually putting yourself out there, being live, showing who you are, you're building that trust, and people are going to respond to that, right? Because we've talked about this many times about how do we build trust now in a society that is becoming very trustless, right? You don't know what to believe. You don't know who's AI. You don't even know if you're interacting with a human anymore, right? So you want to build that trust that, oh, look, if you're going to watch my content, or if you do want to invest in this type of, well, like one of our students who does the laser engraving, you want some look, you can trust I'm going to make a good project for you. You've seen all my projects. So if you're going to invest money, I'm going to show up. And if I don't, you can publicly come on my public thing and tell me I didn't show up. And there's some accountability there, right? Because that's part of the trust. You show up, I can also get back. That is also one of the things about being visible, is you have to be accountable, because then you can't run away from your own things, which that can be a scary part. It can also be very empowering, but scary at the same time,
You know
right?
what the funny thing is? You brought up accountability, and he's quite accountable because I asked about embroidery, and he's like, "Yeah, we can do that." And he's literally redesigned his workshop because he ordered an embroiderer. Because I asked him if he was going to do embroidery because I'm somebody in business. I've bought embroidered sweaters and hat caps and all that stuff in the past. So, I'm ideal client for somebody who is doing in that business, right? So it's kind of funny how I brought that up and now it's, you know, oh, he's busier. He's got,
And the big thing with him, because there's so many competitors, there's lots of
oh, of
competitors, there's lots of
course.
different places to buy from. He's building his clients that are going to know, like, and trust him as on a personal level and want that personality, especially if, just like we talked about with trends, where they put an order in and they can see it being made and be told that, oh, it'll be posted on all my social media platforms by this day or whatever, so watch for it, which people pay for, because I've watched some of these videos of people doing the weird, what is it, candy scoops or whatever, these scoops, and then people get these random crap in these baskets. It's quite a process, but people pay extra to have it videotaped so they could watch it before they even get it. And that is something of, like, it's how we communicate, it's how we even do sales. All of this stuff is changing because of the astrology we're in and the Uranus under Gemini. I know I talk about it all the time, but I see it in our lives, and this is how we change communicating. So it's like people just need to know, build, and trust us, and this is how you're building your audience, is this way. There's not really another easy way to build that. Now, fair enough, you have your local community, but this is, since 2020, it's not been the same. Since people weren't allowed to live like they normally did, there's a lot of places it's not the same. And so this is how you get your signal out. So know your audience, make your promise, and build your engine. And that is the visibility engine. So really, to get to that 100 subscribers, we want to help motivate you. What is your thoughts on that, Mike?
That's what we're here for. It's the motivation and empowerment and just solving, as I tell even my cybersecurity customers, people are like, I'm stuck with this. I'm like, one small win per day. So where are we and what small win per day can I give you? Because I don't know if it's emotional attachment, technology, you've got five different options. Let me just pick one option and then you can go out, try that option. Like it's just where are you stuck? And how can I gently point you in the right direction? Because it's really just do it and test the result. Measure the results.
Exactly.
Not every piece of content we're gonna be happy with it at the end of the day, but it's the action of doing it and getting it started because hey, this is why I tell people go live on YouTube. Go live on YouTube. You can always mark it unlisted. We can always download it, edit it, but it's the going through the action of we want to tell the YouTube algorithm we're interested in utilizing it and leveraging it. What does the YouTube algorithm want? It wants to see progress made to it every single week. So that is uploading a video, doing a short, going live. It wants all three of those pieces. It wants title, like we're just chipping away at it. We're like, okay, every single day I'm going, and
We're
then if I'm scared of
building
the
the list.
interface and I don't know where the buttons are, come ask for help. And we're gonna be like, here is how you do all of this stuff.
Exactly, exactly. And we're holding your hand. We have realized with this that we need to literally hold everybody's hand to meet them where they are, because each person's at a different process and a different step on this process. So we wanted to remind everybody before we leave today that we are going into our next 8-week program, which is June 1st, and we've got the promotional price again that is going to go up on the 15th of May. And we are adding an extra little bonus here. So if you do join us and lock in the $997 before May 15th, as soon as you join us, we're going to start working with you. So you're going to get so if you start today, you're going to get an extra extra month of one-on-ones where we're going to help get you walk through it, and then you'll join the group coaching. There'll be more group classes and still more one-on-one for the 8 weeks, but we'll start working with you now, and so you actually will get an extra month of hand holding going through. So as soon as you register, we'll start working with you. So that is one thing we wanted to make sure everybody did know, that as soon as you pay, we're going to start getting you on this process. You don't have to wait for June 1st. Of course, if you want to, you're always welcome to. We're never going to force you to, but you get that benefit. And again, we only have so many spaces, so we are limiting it because we physically cannot do that much one-on-one with too many people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's what I'm doing every single day. I'll be like, hey, let's connect over Zoom for an hour, share your screen with me, and go through the process of what are we missing, like what's been achieved this week, and what do we need to do in the next hour to get you a win. So we've been going through a lot of the YouTube dashboard customization. Many people are missing banners, profile pictures, descriptions, links.
There's just
There's
so many little things.
so
There's
many
so
channels don't
many
even have
little
tags. It's like,
Exactly. It's just little minute details, but they all add up. They all add up, and getting those things set up, we want to make sure they get in place, right? So that's why as soon as you're registered, we're going to start working with you and start getting
you
all
know,
these things.
I know a lot of people don't know how to make shorts, so we're like, hey, we're gonna show you how to do that in YouTube's tools. You can also use Opus Clip and Restream or Descript. There's a bunch. It's just a matter of the techno. Let's build your workflow and find. There's people paying for software for years that have never even used those softwares. This is what we're
So let's
discovering.
assess if you still want that software, if you're going to use it, or let's get you on something better, right? So
Exactly.
so
I
make
know you've
sure you
wanted to
go.
build YouTube. I know you've been wanting to promote yourself on social media, or you've been doing it, or you're paying a virtual
Mhm.
assistant, and we're literally just repackaging and reframing your time and say, hey, all we need is 2 hours a week, an hour to make new content, an hour to make new content. Could be two 30-minute lives, could be an hour live, and then the other hour is building out, working on the back end, and make your clips, get them scheduled. Like, you could really do it in a minimal amount of time, or you could spend a lot of time if you got a lot of content.
Yeah.
We're meeting you where you are and saying, hey, this is what we're going to work on, get that down pat, and go on to the next task, and then go
Well,
on to the
and
next
if there's
task.
any reason we are in the new 2026, especially after this alignments we've gone through, it is totally about new. So everything needs to be refreshed, needs to be looked at and reassessed. We really are at that point. But as we go, so do go and register. I am YouTubefamous.com. As soon as you register, we will touch base with you guys and set up the sessions. And before we go, Lucretia has one last question, and I don't know if there is. Is there a way to add a background to the free restream? So just so they don't see the background that she has now. The only thing
Yes.
I've
Yeah,
done,
yeah. You go into settings and restream. I don't like the blur option because I don't think it blurs very good. But the challenge with backgrounds on anything is if your computer is strong enough to run backgrounds, and virtual backgrounds can be very distracting on video because if you move around, Zoom might do virtual background better than um, Restream. So we have some students who want to use Zoom because they're comfortable with Zoom, and we're connecting that to Restream. You have to have a paid account for that. So that is just, there's a
one
couple
of
different.
those.
But no, I was playing with backgrounds in Restream. It's possible, but if Restream does not like the performance of your computer, it's going to tell you that, and you may get offended because I've already had a student say, "Why am I getting this message?" I'm like, "Because Restream doesn't like the Well, do you get this?" I'm like, "No, but I got a MacBook M4 from 2025. I got a brand new MacBook I'm using, and you're using a 10-year-old computer.
And then
So.
we're working with you that either if we're going to work with the technology you have, so you have to have that realistic expectation that that's not going to work, or you have to have that
Well,
conversation.
so
Are
I
you
know
going to
what it's.
invest in upgrading that
I
technology?
know what some people have done. If they want a nice background, virtual background is not the way to go. And they usually actually get a vinyl pop-up banner that they would use as a trade show. Those work better if you don't have the computer power to do a virtual background properly, or you know that you always have that halo around your head because you're moving around and your computer can't catch up because you don't have a proper green screen. A lot of people are just sitting in front of their trade show banners because that trade show banner is real life and it's got your logo. So there's a bunch of little tips and tricks.
This is going back old school. Sometimes keeping it simple, right? And yeah, then you
Or
physically have
or
it, which can
or
be pro and a con, right?
or some people relay out their offices,
Yeah.
and if you talk to any person who interior design or camera guys, people they're like, just find if you don't can't do the if you don't like the virtual background looks weird, you don't have a pop-up background, film in a corner because you're gonna have two. That's how I do it in a that's my this is just our dinette in our RV. So I'm always like, hey, I'm in a corner because you're just have there's a bunch of tricks to
I
make
try
it.
to limit the distractions essentially. Like that's essentially it, right? And and again, what your location, because we are mobile. So we have always like space and where we can be, and being consistent is our limitation. So we work within it.
I always get the feedback. I don't want to be on this Zoom call because you're driving. I'm like, I'm not driving. I'm sitting in my truck. Well, that's weird, Mike. And I'm like, okay, I'm in an RV full time. I've got two other humans and three dogs with me. So I'm picking the quietest place. But if you're offended that I'm sitting in my truck, I acknowledge that and let me know if we can proceed with the Zoom call. I get that all the time. So it doesn't
Well,
matter.
and in reality, does that make a difference or does it not? And it's
Well,
going to be
I'm saying,
perception based on who watches the video and
exactly.
whether that's important, right? But on that, do make sure you get registered and you want to take advantage of the discount. We will start working with you one-on-one. Go to the website IamYouTubeFamous.com. And the last thing to finish up, because now it's after 11, is I wanted to just remind everybody we will be back again next week with more information. Oops, did this come up? Why? What happened to my screen? There we go.
I
Can you
don't know.
see the screen?
Well, I'm looking at
Perfect.
Restream and it's like 45 seconds behind, so
Okay. No, that's fine. We'll be here again next week, same time, same place, 9 a.m. Join us for YouTube University. Join us live. Bring your questions. And we'll go over that and bring you some new information and some new suggestions on how to become successful on YouTube. And we started a new show. So tomorrow night, this will be our second episode, our two truths and a lie. So this is lie. So this is kind of funny. So we're looking at tech stories. We're describing are you the asshole based on the tech story, and you have to guess which one is not actually a real story from Reddit. So it's actually kind of funny, and they're interesting. I enjoyed our first episode, and I'm excited about this series and what we're planning to do when you do join us. We want to start getting some of our students to come and join us on some of these shows just to have fun, just to get used to being in the camera and in front of the screen and stuff like that. So we're hoping and planning that we'll have some of our students join us for our Two Real Live.
yeah. And it's also a test to see how adding these pre-scheduled shows into YouTube's ecosystem as scheduled shows, how YouTube's actually sending this data back to Google SEO because they're showing up as real broadcasts, which is super cool and a benefit to, the knowledge that we're passing on to you that you'll show up as an authority by scheduling your shows on YouTube and indicating to the world that you're consistently showing up, same time, same place every single week on your channel and broadcasting your important message.
Mhm.
Everyone in the class is building a channel. You've got an important message. You have an audience. We're using YouTube to find that audience and by showing up.
YouTube, and then all the platforms that we stream
Exactly.
from that point. Awesome. So thank you again. Do go and get registered at IamYouTubeFamous.com, and we'll start working with you right away. And we will see everybody tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then next week again for any questions. So have a great night, or great night. It's the morning. Great morning. I'm ready for bed. Let's go have a nap. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
All right.
Goodbye.
Oh, Julio's on here. I didn't even see it pop in.
Bye, Julio.
See you later.
See you later. Okay, where's the Zoom button?